There is something that almost no one notices on the path to manifestation. It is not a lack of technique. It is not a lack of faith. It is a silent blockage, so subtle that it forms within the desire without the person noticing. Genevieve Behrend said that the universe never denies a request. What happens is that the person themselves, without knowing it, places themselves between the desire and the answer. There is an internal point where manifestation stops. Not because the universe has fallen silent, but because the human mind has erected an invisible obstacle. Today, you will discover exactly what creates this blockage, and, more importantly, how to dissolve it before the universe is prevented from acting on your behalf. If you feel that something should be moving, but it isn't, if you realize that the request was clear, but life remains unchanged, if inside you there is a feeling of almost, but it never arrives, then this teaching from Genevieve Behrend is for you. Take a deep breath. Something you've never heard before is about to be revealed. Subscribe to this channel to continue receiving these rare and profound teachings. Each video is a portal to true conscious creation. The first invisible blockage of manifestation. According to Genevieve Behrend, the first blockage does not arise from desire. It arises from the way you interpret the silence of the universe. Most people believe that when nothing happens, it is because something has gone wrong, and that single thought is not working. It opens an internal crack capable of interrupting all creation. The universe does not respond to words. It responds to the internal state. And when the mind begins to doubt, even slightly, a field of resistance forms. A field so subtle that the person believes they are keeping the faith, when in fact they are fighting against their own desire. Genevieve said that doubt does not appear as doubt. It appears as, did I do it right? Did I ask the right way? Will it take too long? What if it doesn't come? What if it's not for me? These thoughts seem innocent, but they are vibrations of rupture. They are like small cracks in the vase where manifestation should flourish. This is the first invisible block. Interpreting silence as absence. But the silence of creation is never empty. It is the exact moment when everything is reorganizing itself within the universal field. Genevieve Behrend taught that the universe works precisely when you believe that nothing is happening. When you understand this, silence ceases to be a threat and becomes the greatest sign that the answer is approaching. The hidden mechanism that sabotages your manifestation even when you think you are on the right path. There is a deep mechanism within the human mind that works in the shadows. It does not shout, warn, or confront. It whispers. It is the mechanism that tries to keep everything the same, even when you want to completely change your reality. Genevieve Behrend explained that the mind has an invisible guardian, a silent echo from the past, that tries to protect you from the unknown, even if the unknown is precisely the life you want to manifest. This guardian presents itself as skepticism, but not rational skepticism. It is energetic skepticism. It asks questions that seem sensible, but are vibrations of fear disguised as logic. What if this is too good to be true? What if I'm fooling myself? What if nothing changes? These questions are not neutral. They activate the same internal field that made you accept limits for years. And this is where the hidden mechanism acts. It tries to convince you that your current vibration is safer than the vibration that would create your manifestation. It's as if the universe is ready to deliver, but your old mind holds the door shut from the inside, almost imperceptibly. Genevieve used to say that the universe moves along the path of least resistance, but the human mind creates resistance to protect itself. And the more you desire something, the more your old mind tries to prove that desire is risky. That's why so many people feel confused. They affirm, visualize, ask. But inside them there is a guardian saying, not so fast. He doesn't want to stop you. He wants to keep you where you are. But here's the mystery. This guardian only loses power when you change your internal state, not your desire. The energy of manifestation does not respond to the request, but to being. When you become the vibration of what you desire, the guardian can no longer keep you in the old reality. It disappears like a shadow in the light. Why do most people block their manifestations? Most people do not block their manifestations because of a lack of desire, a lack of strength, or a lack of merit. They block it because they don't understand the secret movement of energy. There is a silent, almost imperceptible detail that Genevieve Behrend observed clearly. People desire something from the same internal state that created the absence of that something. They want abundance from a vibration of lack. They want love from a vibration of fear. They want change from a vibration that begs for everything to stay the same. And that is where the blockage arises, not in the desire itself, but in the state in which the desire was emitted. The mind says, I want, but the energy field says, I don't have. And the universe always responds to the field, never to speech. Another deep block, perhaps the most common, is the unconscious habit of doubting at the exact moment when manifestation is approaching. When the field begins to reorganize itself, something inside the person gets scared. They feel subtle changes, more intense vibrations, strange synchronicities, and instead of trusting, they retreat. The old mind tries to preserve the old version of itself, and this creates a vibrational leak, an internal break between what the person desires and what they actually believe is possible for them. That is why so many manifestations seem to be almost there, but never arrive. It is not the universe that retreats. It is the individual who energetically withdraws without realizing it. And there is still a third invisible block. People want external results before changing their internal state, which generates the results. But Genevieve said, manifestation does not happen when something comes to you, but when you become someone for whom it already makes sense. In other words, manifestation is not an event. It is a silent transformation that happens inside. Most people block themselves because they try to change their lives without changing their vibration, because they want progress without internal change, and because they ask the universe, but continue to vibrate as if it were impossible to receive. The only internal adjustment that unblocks the manifestation process, according to Genevieve. For Genevieve Behrend, there are not dozens of keys to manifestation. There is a single internal change that, when made, reorganizes all other parts of your energy field. She called it the vibrational reversal point. It is the exact moment when you stop desiring something as someone who seeks, and start desiring it as someone who already recognizes their own ability to create. It is an almost imperceptible change, but so powerful that it can alter the entire flow of your reality. It is not forced faith. It is not the mechanical repetition of affirmations. It is not positivism. It is an internal repositioning, where your vibration stops asking and starts allowing. Genevieve said, when you stop sending the sound of lack to the universe and start emitting the vibration of certainty, the invisible begins to move. This point of vibrational reversal does not happen in the mind. It happens in the emotional field, in the quiet place where you feel coherent with what you desire. That is when doubt ceases, when fear loses its power, when anxiety dissipates, when the inner vision becomes more real than the outer world. And that is exactly when the universe realizes that you are ready, because it does not respond to your request. It responds to your state. When your inner state changes, the universe has no choice but to change with you. It is an invisible but absolute law. That is why some people seem to manifest with ease. They do not try to control the how. They just adjust the who. And when the who changes, the path appears. Silent signs that your manifestation has already begun, even if nothing seems to have changed. Most people believe that manifestation begins when something finally appears in the physical world. But Genevieve claimed the opposite. The physical is always the last stage. The real process begins much earlier, in inner layers that few recognize. And that is why many abandon their desires at the very moment they were about to receive them. Manifestation always gives signs before it becomes visible. Discreet, almost subtle signs, but ones that reveal that you have already crossed the first vibrational frontier. The following are some of these silent signs, those that precede any external change. 1. A strange feeling of detachment begins to emerge. It is not giving up. It is not disinterest. It is the first internal expansion. It is when you feel less attached to the outcome and more connected to the process. As if, somehow, everything is exactly as it should be. Genevieve said that this is the first sign of alignment. The desire stops pressuring you and starts flowing through you. 2. You begin to notice micro-synchronicities. Nothing big yet. Small coincidences, phrases that appear out of nowhere, repeating numbers, people mentioning something that connects with your intention. It's as if the universe is whispering, "Keep going, I'm organizing everything." These micro-synchronicities are subtle adjustments in the field around you. Discrete announcements that lines of probability have begun to shift. 3. Your internal dialogue changes effortlessly. You realize you are thinking differently. With more clarity, more confidence, more certainty. It's not something you force, it's something that just happens. It's the moment when the unconscious mind begins to accept the new reality as possible, and then as natural. Manifestation gains momentum when your mind stops fighting against what you want. 4. The outside world seems to slow down, as if everything were in suspension. It is not stagnation, it is reorganization. Genevieve called this the silence before the answer. A period when nothing seems to be happening, but in fact everything is happening. It is the point at which energy begins to align silently, transforming possibilities into concrete paths. 5. A sudden intuition arises. You feel that something is coming. You can't explain it. There is no proof. But there is a gentle, almost magnetic inner certainty. It is the vibrational harbinger. The energy field has already changed before you consciously realize it. It is precisely at this moment that many people sabotage the process, doubt, question, and backtrack. But those who recognize the sign remain steadfast and receive. The 3 biggest blockages that cause people to interrupt manifestation without realizing it. Most blockages do not arise from the desire itself, but from the way we relate to it. Genevieve said that it is not the universe that denies us, it is we who close the door from the inside. And these closures happen so subtly that they often go unnoticed. But when you understand these 3 blocks, you begin to see exactly where manifestation was interrupted and how to restore it. 1. The blockage of vibrational anxiety. This is the most common and the most invisible. Vibrational anxiety is not healthy expectation. It is that inner restlessness that tries to control the what, how, and when, instead of trusting in the hidden movement of creation. The person tries to monitor the manifestation, pressuring the process until it suffocates it. Genevieve said that desire can only grow in proportion to how quiet you become. When the inner self becomes too agitated, energy freezes. The manifestation does not disappear, it just stops circulating. 2. The block of the old identity. This is the silent block that destroys manifestations the most. You want something new, but you continue to perceive yourself with your old identity. You desire abundance, but you think like someone who is still struggling. You desire love, but you feel like someone who is still afraid. You desire expansion, but you act like someone who is still hiding. Manifestation doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to the identity you embody daily. Genevieve stated, "No new state can arise while you insist on inhabiting the old one. The key is not to desire something greater, but to become someone who naturally receives it." 3. The block of premature results. This block destroys more manifestations than any other. It's when a person interprets haste as an answer. They observe the external world too early and conclude that nothing is happening. But the physical world is always the last to move. Always. When you analyze too early, you cut off the internal flow that was forming. It's like pulling a seed from the ground, because it hasn't sprouted on the surface yet. Genevieve called this interrupting the invisible before it can become visible. And when that happens, the whole process needs to start over. How to unlock manifestation and allow it to move forward, the essential adjustments according to Genevieve Behrend. According to Genevieve, manifestation is not an effort, but a silent realignment. When you interrupt the flow, you don't need to start all over again. You need to adjust the internal vibration so that the process can continue from where it left off. These adjustments are simple, but they completely transform the rhythm of manifestation. Here are the most important. Returning to the state of silent clarity. Genevieve said that, before any technique, before any visualization, there is a vibrational point that needs to be restored. Lucid silence. It's not the absence of thought, but the absence of emotional interference. It's when you return to your center, where desire can breathe, without being compressed by fear or expectation. This silence creates space for the universe to reposition what was adjusting within you, reaffirming the desire without asking. This is one of Genevieve's rarest teachings. She didn't recommend asking the universe, because asking creates the feeling of, "I don't have it yet." And it's this feeling that blocks. What she taught was reaffirming the desire as a reality that already exists internally, even if it's still invisible. It's like declaring to your energy field, "I am already in tune with this." Manifestation begins to flow again when the vibration stops asking and starts recognizing, releasing control and adjusting the frequency of trust. This adjustment is the most subtle and the most powerful. Most people block manifestation by trying to control the path, watching the signs, checking if something has already changed. But the universe only responds when you establish the trust that doesn't require evidence. It is this silent trust that opens unexpected paths, that moves circumstances, that activates synchronicities that you could never organize on your own. Genevieve called this trusting the invisible more than the visible, reconnecting with the identity that corresponds to desire. When you want a new reality, you need to start inhabiting the version of yourself that exists in it. It's not pretending. It's not acting. It's identity alignment. It's feeling, thinking, and choosing from a higher point of view. Not because everything has already manifested, but because that is the frequency that allows everything to manifest. Genevieve said that it's not reality that changes you. It's you who change, and then reality follows. When identity adjusts, the path opens automatically, remaining in a receptive state, the final adjustment. In the end, the blockage breaks when you stop chasing manifestation and begin to allow it to come to you. Allowing is different from waiting. Allowing is being ready. It is acting in an aligned way, feeling cleanly, and keeping the inner space open so that the invisible becomes visible. This is the vibrational state that Genevieve considered the true point of reception. What happens energetically when you unlock manifestation, and how to recognize that the universe has started moving in your favor again. When a blockage dissolves, the manifestation process doesn't start from scratch. It resumes from the exact point where it had stopped, as if the universe were just waiting for you to free up inner space, so that the flow could continue. Genevieve taught that when the vibration realigns, three energetic movements begin to occur simultaneously. And it is in these movements that you perceive, almost like a whisper, that the answer is approaching. The energy of desire stops pushing and begins to attract. When the blockage falls, something internal changes immediately. Desire stops pressuring you. It stops demanding. It stops causing tension. It begins to gently pull you forward. It's as if your energy repositions itself behind the desire, and no longer against it. This is the first sign that the universe has started moving again. The desire begins to flow instead of weighing you down. You feel lightness, not urgency. Direction, not confusion. The field around you becomes more alive. Small movements begin to appear. After the unlocking, external reality begins to react, almost imperceptibly. Small things reorganize themselves. Schedules change, people reappear, new opportunities arise, an idea crosses your mind at the exact moment you need it. Nothing grandiose yet. But clearly something has begun to move. Genevieve said that this is the stage where life bends towards you, as if subtly opening paths. It's the realignment of the field. The invisible blueprint of manifestation taking shape. A strange inner certainty appears before the physical evidence. This is the most powerful sign. A serene conviction arises within you, without logical reason, without external proof, without any concrete event yet. You simply know. You know it's coming. You know it's already done within you. This is the moment when the universe and your vibration enter into full resonance. The manifestation is already energetically formed, and the physical world is merely adjusting to accompany it. Genevieve called this stage the nonverbal confirmation of the universe. It's the exact point where the invisible is about to touch the visible. Time seems to change, it becomes lighter, more flexible. When you unlock manifestation, your perception of time changes. The days seem more fluid, less heavy, less anxious. It's not time that changes. It's you who changes frequency. This inner relief is proof that you have entered the point of reception. And at this point, manifestation approaches much faster. Because it encounters no resistance. Reality begins to push you in the right direction. After unlocking, life begins to suggest movements. You feel subtle impulses to act. To send a message, make an adjustment, take a step. It's not anxiety, it's guidance. It's as if the universe itself is guiding you to where the manifestation is about to appear. This is the moment when the collaboration between you and creation becomes evident. How to keep your manifestation alive until it appears in the physical, the final teaching of Genevieve Behrend. For Genevieve, manifestation is not achieved by force, but sustained by consciousness. When the process is already in motion, the only real work is not to extinguish the inner flame that keeps the desire vibrationally alive, while it materializes. She taught that there is an energetic state that needs to be preserved so that the invisible can be completed in the visible. And it is in this state that manifestation becomes inevitable. Here are the three essential principles that keep creation alive until the end. 1. Remain in the state of completed internal reality. Genevieve said that manifestation requires only one posture. Treat the desire as something that already exists within you. Even when nothing moves externally. Even when the process seems silent. Even when nothing confirms your vision. You remain internally completed. You are not waiting. You are walking with it within you. It is this vibrational consistency that prevents the desire from slipping through your fingers. When the internal is completed, the external has no choice but to follow. 2. Feed the desire with images, not with anxiety. Genevieve deeply believed in the power of mental images. For her, an image kept in silence is more powerful than 1,000 words, repeated with fear. Most people feed desire with tension, with haste, with pressure, and that kills the vibration. But when you feed desire with gentle images, with simple and silent inner visions, you send to the universe the only language it understands: vibrational coherence. One pure image a day is enough to keep the manifestation alive. 3. Sustain the frequency of acceptance, not expectation. This is the deepest secret. Expectation creates distance. Acceptance creates closeness. Those who expect feel that something is missing. Those who accept feel that something is already arriving. Acceptance is not passivity. It is vibrational maturity. It is recognizing that everything is approaching at the perfect speed. As long as you don't interrupt the process with fear, doubt, or urgency, the energy that accepts is the energy that receives. Maintaining this state is what keeps the manifestation alive until the end. The result: manifestation becomes inevitable. When you conclude internally, feed with images, and remain in acceptance, there is no longer any possibility of failure. At this point, manifestation ceases to be a question of if, and becomes only a question of when. And the when always arrives. When Genevieve Behrend studied manifestation, she wasn't looking for quick fixes, nor superficial answers. She was looking for inner laws, silent points where consciousness shapes reality before any change becomes visible. And today, you saw exactly that. How most people block the process without realizing it. How the universe starts moving again when the blockage dissolves. And how to keep alive the vibration that sustains creation until the end. What Genevieve always made clear is simple and definitive. Manifestation doesn't happen outside. It happens inside. The external world merely reflects what you have already concluded vibrationally. If you understood this, you are already far beyond most. Now, before you go, remember, the universe does not respond to fear. It does not respond to haste. It does not respond to doubt. It responds to coherence, to clarity, to that which you silently sustain when no one is watching. If this teaching made sense to you, and if you want to continue accessing these deep layers that almost no one teaches, then subscribe now to the channel and activate notifications. Here, every day, you will find exactly the kind of wisdom that expands your consciousness and brings you closer to the reality that already exists within you, even if it is still invisible. See you in the next video.